Welcome to this Infowater training video as you continue the Infowater Pro Quick Start tutorial. This is video number 2 where we'll show you how to add elements to the model. This is step 3 in the Quick Start tutorial, continuing on from video 1. And here we're going to look at changing the default symbology, adding 4 different node elements, which are the tanks, junctions, pumps, and valves, one of each, and then we'll add 7 pipes to the model and show a demo of the digitize network command. That's something that you can use that'll save you time if you're needing to add elements. At the beginning of the tutorial, there is an image. It's right before step 1. This image labels all the elements where they're located. I've highlighted on this image where those elements are, just so that you can see them. I'm going to be referring to that as I go through. I've also copied this to a Word document just to help save myself some time as we go through that. And then at the start of step 3, there are tables. These are the attributes that we will use for the elements that do get added to the model. And note, if there's any attributes that are not listed here that show up in the model, we'll just be leaving those blank. They're not required. So first of all, if your model isn't already open, if you're continuing, it probably is, but if not, open and initialize your training model. Right next to the red button, you'll see the Preferences button. When you click on the tab that is Default Symbol, this will allow you to change either the symbol or the color or the size of those elements. In the tutorial, they want you to just verify the sizes. It turns out by default right now, all of these sizes match exactly what the defaults are, so there's no real need to do anything in this step, but I would recommend you click through so you can see that. I'll demonstrate that very quickly here for you. So let's open our model. I've got mine open here. And go to my Infowater Pro tab and initialize. Okay, so right next to that, you can see this is where that Preferences button is, and this is what we're going to do. This will open up always on the Operation Setting tab. We want to go to the default symbol. If you click on any symbol, this is where you can change the size or the color of an element. If you want to make them larger, smaller, change the color, you basically just hit OK several times, and you'll notice it redrew those, and those are larger. If you're like, hey, I didn't want to change that, I want to change it back, just hit the default button, and that'll bring that back to clear it. So it's very handy. But that's essentially the steps of the first part of step 3, changing those so you have some experience in that. The next thing that they want you to do in here is to do adding some elements, and that's where we're going to add. The first element that they're going to have you add is going to be the tank. Let me show you one other thing real quickly. Under the preferences, you notice there's some ID and description. When you're adding new elements, this is what the elements are going to be added as. Like our next tank will be T5000, and then it's going to increment it. So if we added a second tank, it would be then 5002. But just so if you ever want to change those, that's where you change them, and it's right there under the preferences. So the first thing that they want you to do is add the tank, and as you notice, that's right up here in this corner, and that's going to be tank 103, not 5000. So we're going to add that, and we need to go to this right up on the ribbon here. There's the insert button, and you can choose which element that goes through. Let me just show you that real quickly in the slides. You can see in there in the ribbon that you can select in the drawdown which element that you want. Whichever one is selected, then when you click on the screen, that's going to add that element type. You can then change the ID. If you make a mistake in the location or not sure what you did or accidentally are adding a new element but didn't want to, you can X out by just clicking on that, and you just change this. That's what we'll be doing as we go through. We'll be changing the element types as we go on through there. And then once you're done, just make sure to select the select button right up there so that you're not accidentally going to add a new element. And let's go to the model real quickly here. Okay, so the first thing, I've already moved it to insert a tank, and you can see in that it's got a different symbol. And we're going to put that about right there. And they want to call this tank 103. So we're going to just make that 103 like that. And if you put a comma, that allows you to enter in the description. So we're just going to say new tank. Okay, and we've got the parameters right here. So we've got a cylindrical tank that's a bottom elevation of 320. Let's go back to the model. So this is going to be under type. So that's a little drop down. We're going to choose cylindrical. That elevation was 320. So we need the minimum, maximum, and initial. Go back to here. So minimum is 10, max is 50, and initial is 44. So 10, 50, and 44. Minimum is 10, maximum is 50, and initial is 44. And the diameter, I believe, is also 50. So we just put that in right on there, 50. Everything else at this point is not really required, so we're just going to leave those. I'm going to hit the save curtain record just so that that's on there. And essentially, now our tank is added to the model, but you can see it's not yet connected. So before we add the pipes, the next part on there is going to be to add the new junction. And that new junction is junction 87. And that is going to be right here, right in that part of the model. So junction, we need to change for our insert now to a junction. And we're going to put that right about here. And we're going to call this junction 87. Okay. Hit OK. And then now going back to our parameters here, that is going to say we need to add the elevation, and they want us to add the zone. So 115 in zone 1. So elevation, most of the time your modeling parameters are the key ones. Junctions are a little bit unusual because your modeling data is the demands. So the elevation in that is down here, and that was what, 115? So click on that field, 115, and then they wanted zone 1. And so we've got zone 1, elevation 115. We're going to hit save. And just to make sure we put that in the right location there. Yep. Okay. That is exactly where we wanted to be. The next thing that we're going to add is a pump. And that pump is going to be right above this one that's right here. This guy is pump 210. And the one they want us to add is going to be this pump 200 right up there. So let's find the pump attributes right here. So pump 200, and we will add that. So again, insert, changes to pump now, and we're going to just eyeball this, and this would be 200. Hit OK, and we're going to adjust the attributes here. So the to and from, we're going to need to populate. So 200. These are from the pipes. Let's worry about that in a second here. The type, we've got the exponential 3-point and a diameter of 10. So exponential 3-point. These are the 4 different types of pumps. If you need help with that, contact us at support. We can talk you through how that does. So diameter of 10, elevation of 95. So elevation is 95, diameter is 10. And then we need to get the other parameters here. So we've got a shutoff head of 280 and a design head of 260. Shutoff head 280, design head of 260. So I'm just clicking through with my mouse on the different fields, entering them in. Then we've got a design flow of 400 and a high head of 220. Design flow is 400, 220, and then the high flow was twice, so this would be 800, 800 right there. And so we are just going to save this guy. The connection elements will be fixed by when we add the pipe, so that's why I'm not worrying about that at this point. But the next element that they want us to add here is going to be the valve. So the valve is going to be a PRV that's going to go right here. So once again, we need to change under our insert now to valve and just eyeball it about halfway in between there. So our next element that we're adding is valve 300. So I've already changed this to insert to a valve, clicked in this location. I just need to change this to 300, hit OK. And you can see that 300 right here, that PRV 300, again, yellow, and yellow is a little bit hard to see, but that's where it's located. And valves down here at the bottom. So again, we're going to not worry about the from and to at this point because those will be defined by the pipes. But this is a type of a PRV and an elevation 50. So it's already on a PRV, but elevation 50. And this has got a setting of 50 and a diameter of 8. Setting of 50. Now, because my input units were PSI, this is PSI, and the minor loss was 0. And let's see, the diameter they had is 8 instead of 12. 8. So we're going to hit save just so that that is saved. Generally, those will save automatically. Just force of habit, I tend to always do that. The next thing that we're going to be doing is now adding all the missing pipes. So we're going to need one pipe here, one pipe for on this side of the pump, one pipe on this side of the pump, one pipe here, one pipe here, one pipe here, and then a connecting pipe there. So that's going to complete what we're doing here. So pipe 52. Let's do these one at a time here. So we've got, let's see, 52 is this connecting pipe right in there. And that's going to be an 8-inch. And so they also want you to manually edit the links rather than using the default links that are there. So let's go ahead and do that. Actually, we'll just go through and edit those afterwards, but let me show you what we're talking about here. So under your preferences, this auto length calculation, as you draw stuff, that will use the links that are there. This one, they want you to manually enter the link, so I'm going to uncheck that and hit OK. All right, and so going back, our first pipe, 52, is going to be this guy right in there. So we need to change our insert pipe, and you can see it'll highlight around that. That one click brought me to the start. If I get on the next one and I double click, that's going to finish that. It's going to again ask me the ID. I'm going to put in 52, hit OK. And so its attributes are going to be an 8-inch, length 235, 8-inch, 235, 8-inch. And this is from 33 to 87, which is what we had. The roughness, 115, and no minor loss. So roughness, 115. Save that. Okay. Our next pipe is going to be 76, which is this guy. So going from 49 to 61 over there. And since most of these are going to be the same, I'm just going to go ahead and say save default of that last pipe we created so that we can get something pretty similar. This is 76, So I'm going from here, and they had one bend in there, just approximated. 76, 76, 76, and okay. And this parameters, let's see, 49 to 61, which is what we've got over there. 8, 680, and 125. So 8, and the length here was 680 and 125. Oops. 125, 688. Okay. Now we're going to go to 104. This is the pipe that is connected to the tank right there. That is going to be a 10-inch pipe, length 215 and 105. So let's go back, and we will, the direction of that has it starting at the tank and coming back. So we're going to match that. So click once to start, get it closed, double click to finish, and got the pump number 104. 104. This was a 10-inch, 105, and a length of 215. 215, 105. Hit save. That's right there. Okay. Our next one, now we're going to be connecting the pump. Now the direction for pipes connected to pumps and valves are important. They both need to be in the direction of flow. That's how the model knows the direction that the pump is going. So 200A is going from node 1 to node 200. That's basically node 1 to 200. So you can see 200A, 200B, and both of those are going to be, we've got 12-inch, length of 1, and 150. So this is 200A, and this was length of 1, diameter 12. Since our 200B is going to be exactly the same, I'm going to go ahead and save default. So this one will now start at the pump and end at this junction, 200B. And you notice that it automatically had the same values. So that's good. And then 300A and B, this is going from that new junction 87 to the new valve. And then B would be from the valve to 49. So same parameters there. So this is going to start. Let's just zoom in a little bit here to make life easier. And this is 300A. And you notice it's already got the right parameters. And then we're going to do 300B. And voila, we have now got all our pipe elements in there. We have got all of our new node elements in there. So that's exactly what we were trying to do. That's on there. And so you can see basically once they're all added and all our tabular data is entered, and anything that was not in the tables we didn't need to worry about. We used the map to verify where things were, and we repeated those steps to add the elements so all the nodes were there and all the pipes were there, and all our elements are now showing up. So now let's just save our model so that we've got that done, and that you can do right here on top. Just hit the save button. And then now just to do a quick tutorial explanation of the digitize network command, that's under the insert. It's the last one that's there. That will allow you, when you want to create a bunch of elements in a row, especially ones that are connected, to create those quickly. You will select an element to start, or you can start in space. And the save default will allow you to basically have a lot of those attributes, just like what we did for those new pumps, those new pipes that were all the same. We did that save defaults so that we didn't have to edit those after the fact. That's kind of like what we're doing. And if you save defaults for especially your junctions and pipes, those are most often what you're doing. You can save yourself some data entry on the back end. When you're starting, you can right click when you're in this command and change, hey, the next time I double click, what is the node element, whether it's a junction, a tank, a reservoir, a pump, or a valve, and as well as that's how you get out of the tool, how you stop it. The element IDs are going to follow the ID values that are saved in your preferences, so you can set those up so that you want those created the way that I want them to be. And if you use those defaults creatively, I can save data entry on there. Now you can start at or connect to existing node elements, whether you're starting or ending. However, the only thing the digitized network will not do is it will not split a pipe. So if you need to split a pipe on a node, go ahead and add those nodes manually before you do the digitized network. Otherwise, you're going to have to go back and do a fix your pipe split candidates and on the back end. So just so you can see that really quickly, let me show you that really quickly here. So we're going to change our insert to digitize network, and I'm going to start on a node. And you can see if I right click here, I can change, hey, what's the next element? In this case, I'm going to leave it as a junction. When I double click, it's going to be adding a new junction. I can end on an existing node. I can change the element type. Hey, I want to make a new tank. That's right there. Now I want to make a new junction. And you can see you can very quickly, oops, looks like I did not get close enough there. All right, so let's go stop. That's there. And let me just show you how you can change. So all of those were that 1, 12, probably not the best of choices there, but just so that you can see these will be different. 120 is probably a better choice, and I'm going to say save default. So now when I go back to this digitized network, and I want to end on that node, that's right there. This new pipe that was created will have those parameters that I had just saved as default. So I can do the same thing for my junctions. I can go to a junction and I can edit these parameters and then save that as default. So if I have a lot of fields that I want to enter in, I can just choose one that's close enough, save it as default, add the first one, modify it as needed, then save your default again, and then go ahead and add all your elements. That can often save you a whole lot of time. But that's that digitized network. If you're trying to do something quickly, that can be very handy, especially if you have your preferences and that auto length calculation on, which most of the time you will. You don't have a situation like this model that's kind of built in space where the lengths aren't exactly reasonable. But a lot of times you will have that so that that's on there. But again, that is quickly step 3 in the tutorial that we've got. We'll continue on in our next video 3. Thank you very much.